The wounded woman wondered who the hell that boy was. With a smile, she just said nobody knew the truth. Soon after, Soo-jing suggested she should have bought a rechargeable battery or a shield module for the new equipment. Embarrassed, the patient just watched as the surgical instruments were prepared. A little later, the doctor asked if she wanted anesthesia, but the woman, groaning in pain, said maybe not. Even in pain, Ji-won refused the anesthesia, explaining it took time to regain sensation. She added that a big show was about to happen and she didn't want to miss it. The doctor just listened to the excuse and prepared for the procedure. Then Soo-jing scolded her and warned she would remove the bullet, but she would need to rest for 2 hours to recover. The doctor then called the patient's name upon noticing she wasn't paying attention. With a blank stare, the warrior only gave a vague, nonsensical reply. With that, mechanical arms appeared to restrain her while the doctor shouted that she couldn't be thinking about food. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a bar was completely empty and silent. Suddenly, Tiger was thrown hard onto a table, breaking it on impact. Right after, Jaime ran to support him while the other companion watched the scene. She then ordered the man to get help and medicine immediately. The young man ran to the back, shouting that the medicine box was there and asking where everyone was. At the same time, the girl tried to calm Tiger, asking him to be patient because the medicine was coming. Wounded on the ground, the leader could only mutter that they were idiots. At that moment, a figure approached and asked if they couldn't see what was wrong. From afar, the companion noticed there were no more caretakers at the base. Jaime turned her face toward the voice, trying to understand the situation. The mysterious person revealed that everyone there were invaders while pointing a weapon at them. Right after, the young man came across one of the intruders wearing a white protective suit. Suddenly, several figures in identical suits appeared and surrounded Jaime and the wounded Tiger. One of the intruders grabbed the woman's hair and slammed her face hard against the ground. Even immobilized, she kept screaming her ally's name, but was ordered to shut up. With difficulty, the wounded man turned to the leading figure and asked what this meant. Finally, a man with a pipe revealed himself in front of a door, accompanied by more guards. Tiger and his companions were now completely surrounded by the group of invaders. Even while captured, he demanded to know why the man was in his territory and what his intentions were. The group's leader just stared at him with a mocking smile. Then he knelt down and told Tiger not to worry about the situation. Next, he stepped closer, saying he could explain everything that was happening. With a finger raised, the invader declared that everything could be summed up in a single sentence. It then revealed that the real problem was that they had gone after Shenjian. The revelation left Tiger and his companion completely shocked. Outraged, the young man accused him of having leaked the information, but the leader only responded with mockery. As the man began shouting about how many of his people had died, a guard pointed a gun to his head. He went on to explain that because they had targeted Joan, the other 3 bosses of Linjing base were now demanding an explanation from the southern district. Upon hearing that, Tiger could only mutter a single word. Then the invader revealed that the lone wolf had been submerged in cement and killed. The man continued, saying that since some didn't think that was enough, they asked the Hell King's men to help carry his belongings. Placing a hand on Jaime's head, he told Tiger that the situation was also difficult for him. Then the leader taunted him to look at what he had become. With his hands together, the invader suggested he send the Buddha to the heavens to go help his brother. Right after, he made the final offer for Tiger to transfer all his credits and properties to them. In a laboratory, a complex DNA chain floated inside an aqueous chamber. With a fixed gaze, Song Chao watched the scene intently. He then stepped closer to a large glass capsule where a bubbling fluid swirled. At that moment, a voice commented that he seemed interested in the enhancement fluid. Soon after, Soo-jing appeared at his side and observed him for a moment. The young man then asked if Ji-won was okay, but the doctor reassured him that Jaime was already taking care of her. Hearing the news, Chao let out a brief sigh of relief. Then an older scientist asked if he would like to try genetic enhancement. The boy turned his head toward the voice. Without hesitation, he asked how much the procedure cost. The doctor replied it was 800 credits with installments, which the young man thought was a bit expensive. The researcher scolded him, saying he must have misunderstood what enhancement drugs were about. He went on to explain that thanks to the invention, people were able to survive mutant creatures and improve their physical abilities. As the young man listened, the scientist concluded that the true value was in the foundation of survival and the dignity of life. Finally, he showed the image of a chained person and asked if the boy still thought the price was expensive. Moments later, Chao was already floating inside the capsule, while the scientist congratulated Soo-jing for selling the product with a 500% profit. The doctor commented that he had clearly never seen a genetic drug before, which made the overpriced sale a basic operation. Soon after, as he walked away, the researcher asked if Ji-won was still resting. The small floating robot next to Soo-jing began processing the requested information. Suddenly, the drone reported that the patient had left a note and escaped, making the doctor simply say she already knew. The message left by the warrior simply apologized for the rush and promised to pay next time. With that, Soo-jing just said that she needed to learn a lesson. That same night, on a street in the city, the group's leader was boasting about how ordinary people were. As he walked, he celebrated how happy he was with the results of that day. One of his subordinates approached and called him boss. The man asked if it was really safe to leave Tiger alive. The pipe smoker simply questioned his companion's concern. With a laugh, he explained that all of Tiger's men and suppliers no longer existed. The former leader was now completely alone and powerless. He then revealed they were only helping Ji-Kul collect a debt. Holding his pipe, he said that the scheming of the big bosses wasn't their problem, since they were only hired to guide the way. Suddenly, a voice interrupted and asked if the one who hired him also wanted an invoice for the company. Startled, he turned, trying to see who was speaking. As the figure approached, she accused him of leading a group to her home for an ambush. Shinjan then revealed herself, explaining that after a winner is decided, they take people to copy the loser's house. With a smile, she pressed the man, asking if, as an honest businessman, he had nothing to say. The boss could only mutter an insult upon realizing the trap. Even so, he greeted the newcomer, commenting that he had heard about her injury, but Joan replied that thanks to him she wasn't dead yet. Then he reminded her that he had warned her about the fight, but she retorted that he hadn't mentioned armor-piercing bullets. Soon, the two began laughing about the situation. Their shared laughter went on for a moment. Then the man's expression changed and he asked what she wanted, telling her to give her next order. The young woman told him to relax, saying she only wanted to settle accounts and talk business. But the subordinate asked if she really intended to do business with an intelligence group like theirs. Then the leader commented that they didn't get much work, and the other man confirmed they really didn't. With a smile, the man said the visitor was always welcome to buy information and told his men to listen closely. Suddenly, the young woman grabbed him by the head, saying this was a good business opportunity. While pressing him, she asked if it wasn't true. The leader then asked what she meant by that. She went on to reveal her fishing plan, in which she would spread information to lure people with bad intentions. The strategy was to draw the targets into a trap. Then the woman explained she would kill the enemies, confiscate their belongings, and sell what was left at a discount, splitting the profits with them. But the man expressed concern, saying people like King Jiao Wang would certainly come after them. Even so, the subordinate tried to argue, reminding her they were just an intelligence group. So the visitor ordered that if he couldn't decide, he should go back and consult his superiors. Then she warned that any future intelligence mistakes would result in a cut from his share. At that moment, the boss recognized the anonymous credit card where Tiger's funds had been transferred and began to scream. Desperate, he touched his neck and realized when the collar had been placed. Quickly, the leader apologized and accepted the deal, and the young woman said she would forgive him. Holding the card, she advised him to be a good boy and said she looked forward to working together. As soon as she left, the subordinate asked why his boss hadn't stopped her. The young man insisted on knowing why his superior hadn't acted. Then the boss revealed they weren't alone, as several armed figures suddenly appeared in the alley. Next, the leader told his young companion that he had already warned him not to underestimate those people. Still, the subordinate tried to understand why the visitor would come there just to blackmail him. Meanwhile, the young man's visor detected someone else approaching. Far away on a rooftop, another figure suddenly sneezed. Sitting at the top of a building with a gun, she simply wondered if she had caught a cold. Back in the laboratory, the young man felt his body sinking into a deep sea as two beams of light appeared in the distance. Slowly, he opened his eyes and realized the brightness he saw was actually the ceiling above. He soon covered his face with his hand as he slowly woke from the procedure. Then he sat up in bed and looked around the medical equipment room. With a hand on his chin, he wondered if the strengthening had already finished. Looking at himself, he noticed he seemed stronger than before. Then he called out to see if anyone was nearby and lifted the blanket. A woman entered the room carrying a tray, but stopped when she saw the scene. She asked what he was doing. Then she excused herself and told him to get cleaned up, but the young man tried to stop her from leaving. Beside them, Sujing laughed, commenting it was the first time she'd seen someone worry about that part of the body upon waking. Completely embarrassed, the boy covered his face and asked her to stop. At that moment, the doctor commented that since he didn't have strengthening drugs where he lived, she would give him knowledge about them. While he still covered himself, Sujing explained that such drugs enhance physical abilities, but that was only the basics. She went on to detail that the enhancement improved vision, smell, taste, reaction speed, and muscle strength. Then the doctor revealed that higher-level enhancements made the body nearly indestructible and capable of fighting mutants. She concluded that the last stage was power enhancement. Right after, Sojing told the boy he didn't need to know about those things for now. To finish, the doctor advised him to simply run if he was unlucky enough to meet someone with that level of enhancement. With that, the boy understood how dangerous they could be. At that moment, the two sisters, Shen Zhaoan and Shen Jiami, entered the room, and the air went completely silent. The pink-haired woman took a sip from her bottle. Then she told Sojing that nobody had ever seen anything like this in Linjiang. The doctor agreed, saying it was true. Meanwhile, the young man scratched his head for a moment, processing the information. He then asked the price of several drugs, explaining he needed to buy as many top-quality ones as possible. As the younger sister began to talk about the price, Sujing smacked her and told her to be quiet. The girl crashed into a panel, pointing out that medicine here was quite expensive. The doctor explained that Linjing was a small place, and if he wanted good quality drugs, he would need to find 200 vials so she could sell them. Inwardly, the doctor thought there were many things about killing him that she couldn't say. Then the boy asked if those potions could actually be used. She scolded him, clarifying that strengthening drugs needed to be calibrated for use. Understanding this, the boy could only utter a single word. Then he asked if there was any drug that could be used directly. Su Jing commented that he really wouldn't give up on the idea. Then she proposed that she could order a batch of easy-to-use drugs that wouldn't go wrong, but the price would be high. Without hesitation, the boy immediately accepted and asked her to place the order, with a price of 500 yuan. Su Jing confirmed the deal and he accepted with a smile. Next, the young man asked how much higher-level drugs cost, but the doctor explained that their outrageous price was the reason none existed in Linjiang. He listened with a serious expression. Finally, Shen Zhaoan revealed that the starting price of high-level liquid medicine was 10,000, and power drugs were at least 100,000. Shocked by the amount, the boy only stammered as the woman warned him not to even think about it, because they couldn't afford it. After the group left, the laboratory hallway became empty and silent. As they walked away, Su Jing asked what their next plans were and invited them to spend the night, reminding them they would have to pay. The pink-haired woman joked that since they were basically family, rent should be free, but the doctor told her to keep dreaming. Then the younger sister asked if the doctor stayed up late, and the woman said she had to work overtime to pay for her meals. Meanwhile, the visitor just stretched silently. As for the boy, he stayed where he was, lost in thought about their earlier conversation. As she approached, the older sister asked if he was still thinking about strengthening drugs, but the young man denied it. The woman just stared at him for a moment, not believing his answer. Then Su Jing told her sister to go back with her first and told the others they could do as they wished. Right after, the other woman turned to the boy and offered him advice, asking if he was looking for high-level mutation agents. The question completely caught him off guard. He admitted he was, but said no one would sell them, which made the woman call them stupid before lying down. With a finger raised, she said if there was no market, they could just create one. The idea left the boy completely confused. She explained that they just needed an organization large enough with territory, people, and weapons. With that, she concluded they could then buy anything they wanted. In a quick move, the woman pinned him against the wall, surprising him. She then explained that the more forces he had, the safer he would feel. Not knowing how to respond, the young man just agreed with her statement. Then he admitted he didn't know which organizations he could even join there. Next, the woman cleared her throat to get his attention before speaking. She then proposed they do it together, since he had the money and she had the strength. So the young man asked if she was really suggesting that they should work together. Pressing him against the wall, the woman confirmed the proposal with a single word. He then summarized the deal, saying he would invest the money so she could help him expand the channels and buy the materials he wanted. His partner agreed and explained that since he didn't know the place, he would need help not to get swindled. She then revealed that Linjing was ruled by 4 leaders, but the one from the southern city had been silenced the day before. She showed the tragic fate of those who tried to rob them, who had been brutally killed. The woman concluded that without a powerful force to protect him, events like yesterday would repeat, but they could fix everything. After hearing her arguments, the boy admitted what she said made sense. Eager for an answer, the pink-haired woman pressed him for a conclusion. He then asked why she hadn't started her own organization before meeting him. Without waiting for an answer, he accused the two of spending all the food sale profits on more food despite their old equipment. He reminded her that unpolluted food was expensive, and she refused to eat everything. He made it clear that even if they worked together, he wouldn't support her just so she could eat. With no way to deny it, the woman just laughed while holding up bankrupt and glutton signs. Soon after, her expression changed completely as she looked at him seriously. After a brief moment of silence, the boy finally began to speak. He stood up and announced that he would support her in creating the team, which surprised her. Then he demanded she show commitment and give him what he wanted, or he would pull his investment and go elsewhere. The woman just stared at him silently for a moment. Then, a faint smile appeared on her lips. She extended her hand and declared the deal was done. As soon as they shook hands, their cooperation was sealed. As they walked, the pink-haired woman said she would first give him an overview before dealing with the local forces. She explained that Linjing was divided into 5 regions, with each of the 4 main ones having their own leaders and forces. To the east, the transport hub housed the largest black market in the area, run by a businessman who preferred money and information over fighting. The central region was dominated by the tech industry, its leader being a military man nicknamed the General. Then she explained that the southern side was full of bandits, and their boss, the Lone Wolf, was no longer in command. Soon after, she mentioned the northern side of the city but hesitated for a moment. Curious, the boy asked what was wrong with that area. Seeing his persistence, she turned to finally answer. The woman revealed that the northern part was a distribution center for all kinds of bandits and mercenaries. According to her, a leader there was a king who had issues with them, so the best thing to do was simply not go there. The boy then questioned what kind of introduction that was, leaving her flustered. He asked if that meant no one was in charge of the west side of the city. With a confident smile, the woman pointed at herself and declared that this was her territory. Surprised, he noted that all the others had armies, while she had only 2 people, which made her flinch as she said there were historical reasons. Trying to hide her embarrassment, she gave a light cough to the side. Then she explained that the western suburbs had great development potential. She revealed that the area was rich in resources and ancient ruins where valuable things could be dug up. The boy then asked about the downside, and she said the excess of monsters made development difficult, which made him conclude that's why she was poor. He then asked why the others didn't just take the territory for themselves. Crossing her arms, the woman firmly reaffirmed that this was her territory. To finish, she pointed at herself again and repeated that this was her territory. The next day at the laboratory, Dr. Xu started the conversation with the group. With a serious expression, she asked if they were out of money. The boy confirmed the situation with an awkward smile. Then the younger sister asked if they really planned to work with Cheo Jie, since he was super weak. The pink-haired woman begged her to be quiet and stop talking. Then the young man confronted the doctor, asking if she didn't want the medicine box anymore.